Hey everyone, it is Brent, and welcome back to a live episode of Soul Sunday. Hope you're having a great weekend, no matter where you are in the world. It is cold a little bit back here in Ohio, but glad to be back. And today, we've got the deepest video that we have ever done. This is the one that you need to watch. If you are trying to make lasting change in your life, this is the secret that will change everything. And I know a lot of people say that, and you probably hear that all the time, but today I am going to deliver the goods. So all you've got to do, join me, is sit back, relax, and open your minds. It's a brand new episode of Soul Sunday. I hope that everything is going well for you out there. You know, we've been doing a lot of guided meditations. They've been getting tremendous response. So make sure you check our YouTube channel and you'll see those there. We're trying to list one each and every day. I've been working on those for you. But today, are you ready for this? Because this is the one. This is the secret of life. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is really the secret. It's the secret to life. Don't miss this video. Don't pass it up. Don't listen here or there. Pay very close attention. Because what I'm going to talk about today is the power of the human mind. I've spent the last 30 years crisscrossing the world and learning everything I could about the human mind, how it works, and why it makes us do those crazy things that we do. The mind is an incredible supercomputer. And I am so passionate about the fact that we have no idea how to use it. We're all born in this life with one, but we never get the manual to tell us how to use it. They give you a manual for everything nowadays, but the one thing you need it for, you just don't have it. So it was 26 years ago, I discovered something very interesting. As I'm working with famous and successful people all over the world, I started to realize that the human mind and the human psyche can be used in certain ways to achieve success. I began to see how the powers of the mind can begin to influence and affect the things that happen to us in our life. Now, this was a revolutionary concept for me, and it forced me deeper. It forced me searching for answers. It made me understand our purpose, our destiny, our personal power. And in order to work with the powers of the mind, you have to understand, first of all, that everything in physical reality is made of vibrations of energy. And I mean everything. The sofa you're sitting on right now, the clothes that you're wearing, the drink that you're drinking, the walls around you, even you, are made up of vibrations of energy. Everything in this physical universe is. So are our thoughts. They're made up of vibrations of dynamic energy. Our thoughts are the most powerful, most fluid substance in the entire universe. And when you begin to think a thought over and over and over with emotion, you imprint it on the conscious level. What happens as you do that is it begins to make an imprint onto the subconscious. And once it begins to imprint there, it's like a tuning fork. It's a vibration of energy attracting to you the circumstances, the people, the synchronicities, everything that matches the images that you have within you. You have very real power to create and manifest, but you have to understand the dynamics of consciousness and physical reality. And you have to begin to train and practice with the natural powers that you already have. Everything you need, everything you want is inside you. Nothing outside of you is going to get you where you want to go. Each and every one of us is born with this innate power. One of the first things that I want to teach you today is something that's so important. If you can grasp this, you'll be so far on your way. It's the two worlds theory. We are living simultaneously in two very different worlds. Now, we live in the inner world. That's the world of our thoughts and beliefs and reactions. We also live in the outer world. That's the world of circumstances and situations. And right now, at this very moment, as you sit there, wherever you are, in your room, you are in two worlds. You're sitting in that room, watching television, reading the paper, listening to this video, but you're also in your inner world. And if for some reason, maybe I was boring you, you could tune this out. Maybe it would still be playing, but you would be in your own world, thinking about what you were going to have for lunch or where you need to go tomorrow. You can be in the outer world, in your room, wherever you are, people beside you, and everything that happens to you happens in the outer world. Okay? So in the outer world, you're listening to me. The outer world consists of you watching this video. But in the inner world, you're here as well, because I have your interest. But like I said, if you were to lose interest, if I was to become boring, which, I mean, come on, me? But you never know. You could remain here in the outer world out of politeness and let this video play. But in the inner world, you go to a completely different place. Like I said, thinking about lunch, thinking about dinner, thinking about the fight you're going to have with your spouse when you get home, thinking about what you're going to do or what you did yesterday. We do this all the time. We go to different places in the inner world. Think about this, and we talk about driving all the time because the easiest way to get into the present moment is driving, is when you're letting things go when you're driving. But how many times have you driven your car and in the outer world you're driving, but in the inner world you're on automatic pilot? Maybe you're thinking about an argument you had with someone and you're thinking about what's going to happen the next time you see this person. Man, you're thinking to yourself, when I see this person, I'm going to walk up to them and I'm going to say, yes, you did this to me. And then they're going to say, yeah, but what about this? And then I'm going to be like, yes, but what about this? And back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You're having a total fictitious argument as if it's going to happen like that. It's not going to happen that way. But there you are, in your inner world, acting it out. That's what goes on in our minds. And it's very important if you wish to master and understand mind power, that you understand the difference between the outer world and the inner. This is what happens to us. Things happen in the outer world and we react to them in the inner. Let's say someone walks up to you and says, you know what? You look beautiful today. Something good happened in the outer world and we feel good in the inner world. Now let's say the opposite happens. The same person walks up to you and says, you know, you don't look so good today. Are you sick? You look like hell. And in the inner world, you feel horrible, right? That is what's going on in our lives. All of us, most of us, we're living in reaction. We're living in reaction because nobody ever taught us. Nobody ever explained to us that we're living simultaneously here in two worlds. So this is so crucial. You have got to get this. You are living in the outer world, the world of physical phenomena, the world of circumstances and situations. And in the inner world, the world of your thoughts, your beliefs, your consciousness and reactions. And what happens is we get completely overwhelmed, transfixed, hypnotized by the outer world. When things are going well in our life, we feel amazing. But when things are going bad, oh man, we are super down. If you are a $25,000 a year salesperson, if that's what you make, then that is your reality in the outer world. What happens is you take that around, you run it around in your inner world over and over, and finally, it becomes you. You're thinking about it. It becomes your consciousness. It becomes your vibration. If you're having problems in your relationship, that happens in the outer world. But if it happens in the outer world, what happens is you run it around in your inner world. Thinking, you know, I'm having so many problems in my relationship. You're always thinking about the negative aspects of relationships. So that becomes your vibration, and that becomes your energy. Why does that matter? Who gives a shit? Well, as a result, you have stripped yourself of power. You have no power. You are caught like a puppet on a string. You are trapped in the outer world by what the outer world is dictating to you. And what mind power will teach you, what mind power will do in your life, it will teach you to move beyond reaction and into personal power. Remember those two worlds, the inner and the outer. Learn to distinguish between the two. Each has its own dynamics, its own reality. For example, love doesn't exist in the outer world. Can you go out and get me a pound of love? Doesn't exist. Did you bring some tonight? Confidence is part of the inner world. Fear does not exist in the outer world. Happiness does not exist out there. There is no happiness in the outer world. And everybody wants to be happy. In the end, that's what we want, to be happy, to be okay inside. But there's no happiness out there. Not in the outer world. Happiness is part of your inner world. So what you must do, if you want to become a student of self-empowerment, what you learn to do through meditation, through training, through practice, through understanding, through contemplation, through personal work, you learn to distinguish between these two realities that we're living. And we're living them again simultaneously. Learning how to use one to manifest and create in the other, because you see everything is cause and effect. The great law of cause and effect is happening absolutely everywhere in the universe, like the planets orbiting around our sun, following the same elliptical pattern they have for millions of years. Some of them take thousands of days to orbit the sun. And that is all governed by laws. The tides of the ocean are pulled in and out every day from the gravitational pull of the moon. And you can take the most isolated bay in the world, in the middle of nowhere, and you can predict exactly where the tide is going to be at 2:30 a.m. this upcoming New Year's Day. Because why? Because it's all governed by laws. Everything in this universe is governed by laws. Now, the speed of sound is 750 miles an hour, and sound always travels at 750 miles an hour. Not when it feels like it, not when it's in a good mood, not when it's up for it, not when it's, had a good date. My voice right now is coming to you through your speakers at 750 miles an hour because sound travels there. Except, of course, when it's underwater. Then it travels at 3,000 miles an hour. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that it's not governed by laws? Of course not. What it means is that the molecular structure of air and the molecular structure of water are different. And it just so happens that sound travels much quicker when underwater than it does through the air. Because everything in our universe is governed by laws, everything from the infinitely large, from our galaxies, to subatomic particles that collide with one another and form other particles. Everything from the infinitely large to the infinitely small, governed by laws. Except, of course, the things that happen to us. That's all just luck, right? Good luck, bad luck. Does it really make sense that everything in the universe is governed by laws but us? We are the one exception. I mean, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't we in the universe too? Right? We're not separate from it. We've come a long way. We are part of the universe. And if everything in this universe is governed by laws, then I would suspect that those laws govern us as well. Only we've never understood the laws. And that's why we call it fate or luck or chance. There are very specific laws that govern what happens to you in your life. And I'll share with you one of the most important laws that you can ever know about yourself and about your life. And that is that you are the cause of everything that happens to you. You're it. Now, you might say, wait a second, you don't know me, and you don't know the things I'm going through in my life, and I'm certainly not causing the things that happen to me. Well, not consciously, of course. And you don't know there are so many things we don't understand. But you must take responsibility. You must take responsibility for yourself. All right? Every single person listening to my voice today, who and what we are is just an accumulation of all the experiences, all the thoughts, all the beliefs and reactions, everything that has happened to you since you were a young child, every experience, your reaction to that experience, your thoughts, your actions, everything that has happened to you in life has built within you a vibration of energy. And life will always respond to you according to that vibration. I have the Brent Webb energy and vibration that creates my Brent Webb reality. We are the cause. We are the vibrational frequency that attracts experiences to us. And it's so hard for us to understand this. It's not easy to understand, and we like to try and pretend that our life doesn't have anything to do with us. Like, here's life and here's us, when they're totally different, like, things. What do you mean your life has nothing to do with you? Your life is a reflection of you. Your life is a perfect reflection of you. It's a bitter pill to swallow, to accept that we are causing the things that are happening to us, especially when it's the things that are not going well. But I'll tell you something. I'll tell you the secret, just like I promised. As you accept this, you don't have to understand it. I don't know how electricity works, but I turn on the light and there's light in my house. Okay? You don't have to understand it. You just have to expect it. Expect it. And then accept it. Because what happens is it gives you your power. It gives you immense power. Because what I'm telling you is true. And because of that you are causing the things to happen to you, that means, my friends, that it's you that's the solution. And that is the best news anyone could ever give you. What I want you to be is I want you to take into the study of the mind. And I want you to take from this talk the idea that you must pursue it further and you must understand it deeper so you understand how it works. I want you to take into consideration the immense powers of your mind. And I want you to think of it with the attitude of a scientist, of an experimenter, of a philosopher, the adventurer, and be prepared to let go of old concepts and beliefs that are no longer serving you. The most important beliefs that we could have is that life has nothing to do with us, that it happens abstractly, that science has let go some of its most cherished beliefs and concepts when new information comes to light. Science has no problem throwing out old models as new information comes to it. They're doing it all the time. They're doing it constantly. For the longest time, mankind believed that the Earth was the center of the solar system and that the sun revolved around us. And it's very easy to see how they believe that. When you wake up, the sun is on this side of the earth, and at night it's on the other. It certainly appears to us that the sun is moving, just like it appears to us that it's luck and it's fate that makes things happen to us. That's the way it appears to our senses. We only can figure out a very small percentage of what is unfolding in front of us. Believing something that defies your senses is important, and it has precedence in our life. I'm asking you to believe and accept that you are the cause of the things that are happening to you, that you are a vibrational frequency in the energy web of reality that is causing everything to happen. And I'll tell you this, it's bitter in the beginning, but once you get over that aspect of it, you're free. Because you begin to move with such personal power. You begin to manifest and create in ways you will not believe. Einstein's most famous equation, E equals mc squared, what he's explaining there is he's equating energy and matter. He's saying that energy and matter are a constant. For example, if you have wood and you burn the wood disappears. But as a result, it creates heat. And the amount of heat is exactly proportionate to the amount of wood that is burned. It's all governed by these laws. Einstein's saying that we live in a universe where everything is cause and effect, where everything is law. So if this is the type of universe we live in, what I would like to know is, what is the effect of thinking thoughts? What are these very mysterious things called thoughts? I've been working in the mind and the field of the mind for 25 years, and I am still blown away by the power, the immense power of thought. When understood and directed in the ways that you will learn, thought is the most incredible substance, but yet we never get to experience it with our mind. Vague and diffused and thinking thousands of thoughts the way it naturally does. So what you need to do is become aware of how your consciousness works. There are 3 interesting features that I want you to know about the conscious mind right now. First, the beginning of all wisdom is when you realize how much you don't know. That is the true beginning. When you can say to yourself honestly that there is so much I don't know and really mean it, that's the beginning of wisdom. And what are you going to find in your pursuit and study of the mind is there's a whole lot about it that we just don't know. The first feature that I want you to be aware about the conscious mind is that it's in constant motion. You are always thinking thoughts, always. You are always active with your consciousness. The second feature of the conscious mind is what we like to call the Great Trickster. Your mind is the Great Trickster. And what I mean is it tricks you. It fools you. It limits you. It lies to you. It deceives you in innumerable ways. For example, maybe you've got someone sitting at home watching TV. Suddenly, he gets these bad stomach pains and is rushed off to the hospital. Lying there in the hospital thinking to himself, I wonder what's wrong with me. And as soon as the thought comes to him that perhaps this is going to be serious, he begins imagining in his mind everything negative. He imagines being stuck in the hospital. He imagines losing his job. He can see his boss coming up to him and say, sorry, we can't hold your job anymore. The bills are coming in. The bank account is dwindling. His wife has to go out and look for a second job. The neighbors are helping watch the kids. He built this entire scenario himself in his mind. He suffered with it. He agonized with it. He lived with it, suffering and tortured like it's really happening. But what happens? Next day he's released, good as new, nothing wrong. Maybe some indigestion, a little spicy Mexican food. He just carries on with his life, quite happy that nothing was wrong, yet something was going on in his mind that made him think like that. Think about how many times you've suffered and worried needlessly over something that's never happened to you. And yet you work yourself up about it. The mind is like that. Your mind knows you so well. Your mind knows you better than anyone else. Your mind knows things about you that no one knows. It knows things that you've done that you're embarrassed of, things that no one ever caught you doing. Our mind knows our deepest inadequacies, our fears, every intricate little detail about us. And guess what? That bitchy roommate we've got up there loves to play with us the way a cat plays with a mouse. Your mind will take the greatest fear that it has and it will project you and that fear forward and show you, guess what's going to happen to you? And so often our mind lies to us, tells us outright lies. We can't even believe what our own mind tells us. So what I'm going to tell you next, and if you can understand this, it's such a huge step to personal power. And that is, most of the time, 99% of the time, you can't believe what your own mind tells you. Because your mind is just the conditioned past. Your mind is not a mind reader. It's not telling you the future. It is conditioned from events of the past. So from this point on, we begin to doubt our doubts. We no longer have to listen anymore to everything that mind says and live in fear of it. The third interesting feature about the conscious mind is that there's a lot of useless thoughts going on inside it. Now, what do I mean by it? Well, Fear is a useful thought. I mean, there's a role in our life for fear, the fight or flight response, you know? It's not the type of fear that keeps you, you want out of the lion exhibit at the zoo. That's fight or flight when you're approached with a death-defying situation. But that's not what I'm talking about. It's like we're afraid to approach somebody that we don't know. We're afraid to try something new, afraid of what might happen to us in the future. There's a lot of fear in this consciousness. We have it the second that we're born, the second we come into this world. There's a lot of worry in this consciousness. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of negatives in this consciousness. We are creating this. We are living our life. We're living our very important life. But we're living it through this mechanism that's in constant motion, through a mechanism that's tricking us, it's lying to us, through a mechanism that has all this useless thought going on. And that is the lens through which we perceive our lives. We never see reality. We only see reality through the veil of our past. Right when we wake up, we tend to immediately start thinking thoughts, usually the negative thoughts from the night before. It's a never-ending drama. All these thoughts are happening to us. And what am I going to do with my life? What's going to happen? Then we're at work. We have a personal problem. Maybe I should just quit this job. It's not even worth it. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. What am I going to do when I get home? What does my wife want to do? What bills do I have to pay? Is there any wonder that we get overwhelmed in our daily lives? And the thing is, that is exactly what's going on. This is how our consciousness is working without training. We have lost control. We are somehow servants to the master. That is our mind, and it's completely backwards. We have just lost control, but guess what? The moment you realize you've lost it, you can get it back. You can begin to get control back as soon as you awaken to the fact that this is indeed what's happening. That is what mind power is about. Techniques, training, methods of gaining control of your consciousness. And one of the things that you'll learn is how to eliminate the negatives that are happening in our consciousness. Even the most positive person has the most negatives going on. We all have negatives in one area or more of our life. And I want you to know it makes absolutely no difference to the conscious mind whether you think constructive thoughts or destructive ones. It makes no difference to the mind. But it makes all the difference in the universe to you. It makes all the difference to your life here on earth. It makes all the difference to the things that are going to happen to you. But it makes no difference to your mind. Now, here I am talking about your mind as if they're different. And that's what you're going to find out. You are not your mind. You are not that voice in your head. You are the consciousness, the person who is overseeing everything. But you are not your mind. Just like you're not your hand, your foot, or your finger. It's just part of who you are, but it's not you. And it makes no difference to that mind, no difference, whether it thinks constructive thoughts or destructive ones. It will simply work with whatever material it has available. Now, there are a few techniques that I'm going to share with you that are very good for eliminating negatives from the mind. The first technique is just called cut it off. What you do the instant you recognize you're thinking negative thoughts, what you do is cut off that thought and insert a totally different thought into your mind, hopefully the polar opposite, which is the positive one. You don't argue with it, you don't analyze it, you don't defend yourself against it. In other words, you don't get pulled into the mind games. As soon as you recognize it's a negative thought, the second you do, you just cut it off and insert a totally different thought. The second technique is different. What you do is label it. And we talk a lot about labeling things and how it's not good. This is a difference, all right? What you say is what is happening to me is I'm experiencing a negative thought, and you label it, but you don't get caught up in it. This next truth will have you at about 75% of eliminating negative thoughts. 75%. And I'm going to say it a few times because I want you to imprint it deep into your consciousness. I want you to burn it into your mind. Negatives only have power over you if you react to them. Silence. Negatives only have power over you if you react to them. If you cease to react, it has no power. Negatives get their power from you. They draw their power from you. Keep reminding yourself it's only a negative thought. And if it's a huge one, make fun with it. Dance around it, dodge it. Do whatever you have to do. But keep reminding yourself that it's only a negative thought. It only has the power that you give it. Another technique I've used a lot is exaggeration. What you do, whether the negative, whatever the negative thought is you exaggerate it to the point of ridiculousness. And the key here is that ridiculousness. Maybe you're a salesman, you didn't make a sale all day. You think to yourself, what's the point? Not going to make a sale. But then you catch yourself. Wait a second, that was a negative thought. So guess what? Exaggerate it. That's so right. I'm not going to make another sale today. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I go to this next company and open the door and there's going to be this mechanical boxing glove that comes out, smashes me in the face, and I'm going to be hurt. I'm going to be hurt. And then they're going to release their pit bull. Their pit bull is going to come out and I'm going to rip my pants off. I'm not going to make any sales for the rest of the week. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. And then, of course, I'm going to lose my house. And I'll probably lose my wife, too. I'm going to be a man with no pants, no wife, no house, no job on the street. Now, that's ridiculous. But what it does, it takes the power away from it. Because once again, negatives only have power, what? If you react to them. Your mind doesn't know. It truly doesn't know what will happen. So take the power from it. Take the power from it. So I want to thank you for allowing me to go on this journey with you today. And I want to remind you, if you are not a member of our Facebook community, we are a family. It's a like-minded group of people. We're changing the world, empowering, supporting each other. And in turn, we support and empower ourselves. It's a never-ending circle of abundance in every area of our lives. So join us. It's the Students of Self-Empowerment, and you'll find it at facebook.com/groups/Students of Self-Empowerment. Wow, that's novel. Facebook.com/groups/Students of Self-Empowerment. You can also go over to our website, freelifetools.com, and there you're going to find all sorts of free tools that you can start utilizing right away. Videos, blog posts, mini challenges, everything you need to start making lasting change. And finally, some of you have been asking about our mindset coaching program. It's time to stop being a prisoner to your excuses. It's time to respectfully get your shit together. If you're finding yourself feeling stuck and unable to identify what's holding you back, it's time to take a nuanced look at your entire self, the real you, without that veil that is in front of reality. Everyone needs a little something different in order to get that aha moment and create the shift that expands their perspective. Those little impacts that make a great big impression on your journey, like when you've been stuck in life and suddenly the stars align and everything becomes clear. Those are the aha moments that we create. Those are your impacts. So our personal mindset sessions are for action takers. Each session works to maximize growth by diving past your surface level hurdles. That's why positive thinking on a surface level never works. You've got to get deep inside your subconscious. We'll work from the inside to identify and address the root causes of why you feel stuck before creating a cascade of systemic breakthroughs and fast, exciting growth. We have a very personalized approach, and it allows you to work through even the most resistant of issues with continued guidance and support along the way. You know, we all get to a point on our journey towards mindfulness where meditation and self-help books and yoga and conscious steps towards positive change are no longer enough. It can be unexpected. It can be unpredictable. And our feelings of being stuck seem to have no particular source. Well, mindset coaching cuts through all that BS and allows you to see your life clearly through a fresh perspective, relieving internal tension and enabling you to achieve incredible personal and professional transformations. Just go to taylor-webb.org/coaching. You can get to it from our main page as well, but taylor-webb.org/coaching. You'll be able to read all about it. We'll send you some information. Send us an email if you're interested, and we'll get everything to you. We would certainly love to go deeper. If this is something that you think you're ready for, send us that email today, taylor-webb.org/coaching. So I want to thank you for joining me on your Sunday, and I will be back again tomorrow with another brand new episode of Life 101. And tomorrow we are covering some big topics, so you don't want to miss it. The great thing about these videos, if you don't see them while they're streaming live, that's okay, because every video that we make gets uploaded to our YouTube channel. If you are not a subscriber, what are you waiting for there? It's youtube.com/Taylor-Webb Television. And you can find all of our videos, almost 200 now, including our brand new guided meditations and so much more. Each and every step of the way, we are with you. So join us. Thanks again. And in the words of the late, great Larry Hagman, the wonderful J.R. Ewing from Dallas, I close everything that I do the same way. It goes like this. Don't worry. Be happy. Feel good. I'll see you tomorrow.